When I'm riding at my very fastest that I can handle, it's very scary, but it's also a little bit exciting. Like my fastest going downhill that I've seen on my my tracker, my GPS thing, has been like 42 miles per hour. That's the fastest I've ever gone. It's definitely thrilling, but in my head, I'm just really trying to push it to the limit when I'm trying to go fast, because with my brain injury, I'm also balancing. Actually, the faster I go, the easier it is to balance, but my left side gets tense if there's things happening on the left side of my body that are just like out of my peripherals. To get the biggest benefit out of riding behind somebody, you have to be very close to them, and that's one of the things that my brain injury, it's difficult to do that and then maintain a position without being wobbly. That's one of the things, if you talk to the people I cycle with, they'll tell you that I'm a wobbly cyclist, not knowing that I have a brain injury, not knowing any of that. They just think I'm clumsy or that I'm wobbly. August 9th, 2021. I was in 118 Infantry, and I was getting the battalion ready for a Bradley gunnery, and I was giving the battalion gunners just a VCE class, which is a vehicle crew evaluator class. And as I was driving back, I never in my life had double vision before, so I just never had that before. And I was about a block away from where I was giving the class. It was pretty bad. I couldn't even drive, so I just pulled over, and then I called my wife, who's a pretty smart medical person. What is this? I can barely see. It's really weird. And she told me, she's like, it sounds like you're having a stroke. And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, no. And then I just rested. I hung up the phone because I had to get back to giving the presentation. I was about to start giving the class, and then I just couldn't give it, because it reached a point where I couldn't open my eyes, and I just told everybody to come back the next day, and because I was just gonna call it that day. But then I didn't even get to that point because I just lost the feeling in my left side, and then I couldn't even stand up, and I was so sweaty that it looked like I just got out of a pool, and I was in an air-conditioned building. So the two guys ended up taking me to the emergency room on post, where I lost consciousness and I was vomiting, and eventually I went to Topeka, and I was inpatient there for a few weeks. When I was in the hospital bed and I realized I really just could not use my left side, I was very scared. And the biggest thing I was worried about is, am I going to be able to stay in the Army? So from that point on, everything I did was like, how am I going to be able to stay in the Army? Because I really wanted to stay in the Army, because I just love the Army. That drove everything else I did, between just playing with bouncy balls all the time and like doing the best I can with my left side, and then struggling to walk and run, falling down over and over again. You wouldn't believe how many times I've fallen down, but it's all in because I was pushing myself to get to the next level. I was just going about my business one day, and I like to talk to people and just kind of see what they're doing. And I think it was in this clamshell with this rehabilitation center that I saw somebody doing something. Like, I just asked them what they were doing, and they said they were training for the Warrior trials. And then I asked about it, and they started telling me about it, and it sounded really cool, because the whole concept, that's where the concept of adaptive sports was introduced to me. You're going against other people with similar limitations, if not the same one. And so it's just like an even playing field. Something about that just motivated me, because I could compete to the best of my ability and still feel like I'm being competitive. Like, I really press on adaptive sports with everybody, because that's how I came up, and that's where I really took off, is adaptive sports. You're able to still push yourself, and a lot of people, they might go home and they don't really have a strong sense of accomplishment. If you don't have that, it's easy to just get into a dark place. Like for me, pushing myself has always been like my way of just like when I go home at night, I just feel good about myself because I know I gave everything I had that day. And it doesn't, whether you're injured or not, if you go home at night and you just don't have like a sense of accomplishment, then sometimes it's easy to kind of question what you're doing or why you're there, as opposed to just having a purpose and then going after it. When I'm performing just as well as somebody that doesn't have that injury, it makes me feel as close to my 100% as I'm gonna get. So that does feel really good, and that's a big sense of accomplishment for me. If I'm cycling next to somebody and I'm able to keep up with them or even surpass them, it makes me feel like I'm really doing everything I can to get recovered. And I know it's a lifelong process for me, so those are just like those little things they're just milestones that they fling me up to the next level.